This is From Destruction to Dignity with Janice Pons. Each week, Janice shares her wisdom to enlighten, educate, and advance the culture in America today. Janice Pons is a mother, author, and free thinker, and your host for our podcast this evening. Now let's join your host, Janice Pons.
Greetings, greetings, greetings. Come on in. Come on in here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Janice Pons. I am the host on this broadcast, From Destruction to Dignity, Clinical Perspectives, Spiritual Truths. What is this all about? A journey? Yes, we have been going on a journey together, a fact-finding journey, learning about our great nation as we the people, as represented by our beautiful flag, our presidential seal. We've got a presidential election this year. Yay. So it's important in this election year to really understand the infrastructure of our nation and how it works. And we've been on this journey of understanding how our taxpayer dollars, we established in episode 136, what our taxpayer dollars support, the intricacies of it. We spend an entire month breaking down each pillar. And here in the month of February, we are looking at the pillar of Medicare because our taxpayer dollars are supporting these 5 pillars that are the infrastructure of our great nation, supporting Social Security. And we learned for an entire month that it's not just retirement, it's disability, it's our citizens that can't work. It's for those who are disabled. It's for those who are survivors of a loved one who died who was covered by Social Security. A lot of details that we need to know that may affect our lives. So Social Security always being there to address needs. Our military who protects us from all enemies, both foreign and domestic. Our education system always being paid for. Paying off the interest of our national debt and health care, our federal health care dollars being supported for Medicare. And that's what we've been dissecting this month. So we're going to continue on this fact-finding journey this month. Tonight, we're going to cover Medicare Part B, and we're going to look at the clinical perspective of things that a dentist wish a doctor or a physician were not missing. We're going to tie that in with the overall picture of healthcare. So listen, I want to remind you, oh boy, we're getting closer and closer to April 13th. The momentum is building. I'm excited. April the 13th, we're going to all be in our state capitals all over our great nation where we're having a day of fasting and prayer. We've got our prayer groups. If you want to know how to set up your own prayer group or you want to get connected with one in your area, you can reach out to me, info@janicepons.com. You see it on the screen. I will help you get connected with that because it's an integral part of a whole. And the whole is us having our state meetups on April the 13th for our prayer and fasting in each state, which is going to culminate with us being on the Washington Federal Mall October the 12th, 2024. 1 million voices are rising. The Mordecais and Esther standing together, fasting and praying for our great nation. God is not done with America because you and I are still here. So I want to remind you of that. We're getting closer and closer to April 13th. It is exciting plan to be there. I'm just thrilled. So let's dive in. We're going to keep going together on this fact-finding journey tonight. We're looking at Medicare Part B. Yes, Medicare Part B covers 2 types of services. Medically necessary services, which are services or supplies that are needed to diagnose or treat a medical condition and that meet accepted standards of medical practice. It also covers preventive services, healthcare to prevent illness like the flu or detect it at an early stage when treatment is most likely to work best. Pretty much you pay nothing for most preventive services if you get the services from a healthcare provider who accepts the assignment. In other words, they're your doctor. Part B covers other things like clinical research, ambulance services, durable medical equipment, DME, mental health services, be it inpatient crisis stabilization. A person's dealing with suicidal thoughts, homicidal thoughts, psychosis. They need to be stabilized. I've seen it, worked in those settings. Those settings are needed. Medicare covers that. And that's a 24-hour setting. I thrive in those kinds of settings as a clinician. Then we have partial hospitalization. Pretty much that's a day treatment program. You might be, I've been in those settings too, working, they're in therapy from 8 in the morning to 4 in the evening. They need something intense, but they need to go home at night to practice the skills, the strategy, skills, and tools that are being imparted to them. Then we have outpatient therapy. You may go once a week. You may go every other week. You may go once a month. That's up to you and your therapist to decide what you need. And something I'm very excited about, effective January 1 of this year, Medicare is now covering intensive outpatient services. That's powerful. IOP, where you're getting approximately 9 hours of therapy a week. Yeah, that's IOP is designed particularly to address the needs of people who work during the day, but they leave work and they come straight into a therapeutic setting for 5-6 weeks, however the program is set up. But it's about 9 hours of therapy in a given week. So also there's limited outpatient prescription coverage as well. So I'm just excited that it covers mental health. Listen, people need to be stabilized sometimes. Also, there's a criteria. Medicare B, which is medical insurance. Remember, A is hospital, B is medical. Individuals already receiving Social Security or Railroad Retirement Benefits, RRB, at least 4 months before being eligible for Medicare and residing in the United States, except residents of Puerto Rico, are automatically enrolled in both premium-free Part A and Part B. People who are automatically enrolled have the choice of whether they want to keep or refuse Part B coverage. People living in Puerto Rico who are eligible for automatic enrollment are only enrolled in premium-free Part A. They must actively enroll in Part B to get this coverage. Individuals who are not receiving a Social Security or Railroad Retirement Benefits are not automatically enrolled. Individuals who previously refused Part B or who terminated their Part B enrollment may enroll or re-enroll in Part B only during certain enrollment periods. Do you think it's important to know what those periods are? I learned you better pay attention. You better pay attention. So I have someone that's her lane. She keeps up with me. She lets me know what I need to be doing. Yeah. In most cases, if someone does not enroll in Part B when first eligible, they will have to pay a late enrollment penalty for as long as they have Part B. You see why it's important to be keyed into timelines. Part B is a voluntary program that requires the payment of a monthly premium for all parts of that coverage. Now, eligibility rules for Part B depends on whether a person's eligible for premium-free Part A, or whether the individual has to pay that premium for Part A coverage. Now, individuals who are eligible for premium-free Part A are also eligible for enrollment in Part B once they are entitled to Part A. Now, individuals who must pay a premium for Part A must meet the following requirements to enroll in Part B. Here are the requirements. You have to be 65 or older. You have to be a U.S. citizen, a U.S. resident, and be either a U.S. citizen or be an alien who has been lawfully admitted for permanent residence and has been residing in the United States for 5 continuous years prior to the month of filing an application for Medicare. Boy, this helps me understand why folk are wanting to get in America. We got a lot that we do for each other. I didn't realize a lot of these things. I was like, oh, those are the intricacies. Those are the particulars of what our taxpayer dollars are supporting. Important to know, particularly if you have elderly people in your family, particularly if you're getting older yourself. Now, here's a note. Individuals who were terminated from Part A 36 months after receiving a kidney transplant may be eligible for the Part B immunosuppressive drug benefit. Just something to think about. This is applicable to specific situations. Now, enrollment periods. Because if you miss the enrollment period, there's going to be an issue. So enrollment periods when coverage begins. Individuals eligible for premium-free Part A who are not automatically enrolled can enroll in Part A at any time after they're first eligible for the coverage. Individuals who want premium Part A, Part B, or both may only enroll during certain enrollment periods that are outlined in the law. The following enrollment periods apply to both premium A, Part A, and Part B. Here are the enrollment periods. It's 3 major ones. Initial enrollment period, general enrollment period, and special enrollment period. Now, IEP, initial enrollment period. This is a 7-month period that begins 3 months before the month a person turns 65. They're going to be calling you. You're going to get these calls, notification. Their birthday month and ends 3 months after the person turns 65. For someone under age 65 who becomes entitled to Medicare based on disability, entitlement begins with the 25th month of disability benefit entitlement. For these individuals, the initial enrollment period, IEP, begins 3 months before that 25th month of that disability benefit entitlement, and it includes that 25th month and ends 3 months after. The IEP for people with end-stage renal disease and ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, varies based on their situation, and there are people that assess it. Coverage will begin the month after a person enrolls during their IEP, that initial enrollment period. Disabled individuals are automatically enrolled in Medicare Part A and Part B after they have received disability benefits from Social Security for 24 months. Now, here's a note, something to be aware of. In most cases, if someone does not enroll in Part B or Premium Part A when first eligible, they will have to pay a late enrollment penalty. The Part B penalty is assessed for as long as a person has Part B. Now, Here's another enrollment period. GEP, General Enrollment Period. That takes place from January 1st through March 31st of each year. Part B and Premium Part A coverage will begin the month after a person enrolls during the GEP, the General Enrollment Period. Then we have SEP, Special Enrollment Period. Now, there are certain situations when our precious fellow Americans can sign up for Part B and Premium Part A during a special enrollment period without paying a late enrollment penalty. A special enrollment period is only available for a limited time. If a person doesn't sign up during their special enrollment period, they'll have to wait. Yeah. See why it's important to be keyed into these dates? They'll have to wait for the next general enrollment period, and they might have to pay a monthly late enrollment penalty. Coverage will begin the month after a person enrolls during their SEP. Paying attention, being on top of this is important. SEP for the working aged and working disabled. Okay, let's look at that. Individuals who do not enroll in Part B, they don't enroll, or Premium Part A, when first eligible because they were covered under a group health plan, for example, based on their own or a spouse's current employment or the current employment of a family member, if disabled, may enroll during this SEP. Individuals can enroll at any time while covered under the group health plan based on current employment or during the 8-month period that begins the month the employment ends or the group health plan coverage ends, whichever comes first. Whichever comes first. Now, individuals with end-stage renal disease are not eligible to enroll using this SEP. Now, some people do what's called international volunteering. There's a SEP for them. Individuals who do not enroll in Part B or Premium Part A when first eligible because they were performing volunteer service outside of the United States for at least 12 months on behalf of a taxed exempt organization and had health insurance that provided coverage for the duration of the volunteer service may enroll using the SEP. The SEP is a 6-month period that begins the earlier of the first day of the month following the month for which the individual was no longer serving as a volunteer outside of the United States. They're no longer serving. The organization no longer has tax exempt status, or the individual no longer has health insurance that provides coverage outside of the United States. Now, TRICARE, that's a good insurance. SEP for certain TRICARE beneficiary individuals who enroll in Part A based on disability or end-stage renal disease, but do not enroll in Part B because they are eligible for TRICARE Standard or TRICARE Prime, may enroll using this SEP. We have to get these details. I'm giving an overall general education here, overall general knowledge. This is important to know. Eligible individuals are those who are under age 65. They are eligible for TRICARE standard at the time of Part A enrollment, and a military retiree. Our military folk are important. A military retiree or military retiree family member, or an active duty, or a family member of an active duty service member with Medicare based on end-stage renal disease. These are important things. These are important things. So, eligible individuals may enroll if notified of Medicare entitlement during the IEP, the month after the end of the IEP, or if notified of Medicare enrollment or entitlement after the IEP, the month of notification of Medicare entitlement. Coverage begins if notified of Medicare enrollment during the IEP, the month of enrollment, or the first month after the end of the IEP. If notified of Medicare entitlement after the IEP, the month of enrollment, or the month that Part B terminated based on the refusal. If entitlement is based on end-stage renal disease, coverage begins the month of Part A entitlement, or the month of enrollment, or the month after the end of the IEP. All of this is available online. It may be worth your while to, if you have these specific dynamics going on, I really highly encourage you to just dig in and find out, I need to get some more information about that and go over it and talk about it as a family as it relates to the specificity of your situations. The special enrollment period for exceptional conditions. Listen, effective January 1 of 2023, the following SEPs for exceptional conditions are available for Premium Part A and Part B, respectively. SEP for individuals impacted by an emergency or a disaster. Individuals who do not enroll in Part B or Premium Part A when first eligible due to having an emergency or disaster declared by federal, state, or local government entity in their area may enroll using this SEP if a person is eligible because they were impacted by an emergency or a disaster declared by the state, the federal, the state, or local. Listen, that SEP begins, the date of that emergency or disaster is declared, or the start date identified in the emergency declaration, whichever's earlier. The SEP ends 6 months after the later of the end date identified in the disaster or emergency declaration, or the end date of any extensions, or the date when the declaration has been determined to have ended or has been revoked. It's a lot. A lot is involved. Medicare benefits will be effective the first day of the month following enrollment. Now, we're going to move forward here. SEP for other exceptional conditions, individuals who do not enroll in Part B or Premium Part A when first eligible because conditions beyond their control cause them to miss an enrollment period may enroll using this SEP. The SEP is available for individuals whose unique conditions do not qualify for other SEPs. An eligible person must demonstrate by documentation or written attestation that conditions outside their control that occurred on or after January 1, 2023 caused them to miss the enrollment period. It can't be because you forgot. It can't be because of lack of knowledge. I didn't know. Well, we need to stay on top of these things. or a failure to make a premium payment. Part B, there's sign up for Part B only. Part B helps pay for your basic health care services. If you already have Part A, you can add Part B during specific enrollment periods. It's important to sign up promptly to avoid gaps in coverage or late enrollment penalties. Your coverage generally begins the first day of the month after you sign up. When you're ending an employer group plan, if you've been covered by an active employer group health plan, either yours or your spouse, since turning 65, and it ended within the last 8 months, you can enroll in Part B without any penalty. This is considered special enrollment. Some item, I'm going to end on the Medicare for tonight about B. Some items that it doesn't cover is long-term care, which is called custodial care, most dental care, eye exams, dentures, cosmetic surgery, massage routine. They're just things that just doesn't cover. Hearing aids, examinations for fitting them, so forth and so on. Medicare coverage is based on 3 factors: federal and state laws, national coverage decisions made by Medicare about whether something is covered, and local coverage decisions made by companies in each state that processes this. It's a lot, isn't it? So the need for us to be informed as citizens is very significant. So real quickly about the clinical perspective. What are some things, listen, all this is healthcare. What are some things that dentists wish physicians weren't missing? Listen, in our mouth, dentists deal with our mouth, but guess what? Medical doctors deal with our mouth too, but usually they go past the gums and the teeth, and they looking down our throat. But dentists are saying, hey, you need to pay attention. So there are 5 key conditions with oral signs that dentists wish primary care doctors would check up on. Diabetes, within the realm of oral health, type 2 diabetes can leave distinct imprints that dental professionals are trained to watch for. Gum disease, bleeding gums can be a sign of the illness. And so they're just saying, dentists are saying, hey, doc, we need you to be keyed into that. Also, you can get a fungal infection, such as oral thrush. It can mean that there's the immune system is not working properly. Dentists want doctors to be keyed into that so they can work together as a team. Inflammatory bowel disease, such as Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis, have long been recognized for their effect on the gut. However, a lesser known aspect of these disorders can show up in the mouth, yes, presenting a unique set of challenges for both patients and healthcare providers. And so that these mouth ulcers, they're saying, pay attention to that. Dentists want doctors to be paying attention to that. Heart disease. The mouth may also be an unsuspected place to find signs of diseases of the heart and blood vessels. How? The gum disease. It is a lot of times connected to heart disease. Yes. Patients with implants, dentures, and bridges have weak bones a lot of times that can lead to looser fitting replacements. Being keyed into that. Dentists want doctors keyed into that. Then there's oral cancer. Symptoms of oral cancer that may be visible during a doctor visit include a sore on the lip or in the mouth, white or reddish patches on the inside of the mouth. Anytime, one of the doctors was saying, Dr. Johnson, anytime I have a patient with a white patch they have not had before, if they have not bitten their tongue, we have them come in again in 2 to 3 weeks, and he says they biopsy it. So what we're talking about is healthcare professionals working together. What have we looked at tonight? Wow, we're on this fact-finding journey together. Understanding Medicare. Our taxpayer dollars are supporting this major pillar of healthcare in our great nation of Medicare. Tonight, we have dissected the particulars of Medicare Part B, which is the medical. We looked at A last week. A has to do with hospital. This week, medical. Listen, what are we doing? We are supporting each other, engaging together, educating each other as we go from destruction to dignity. I'll see you next week. Good night.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of From Destruction to Dignity with Janice Pons. Janice's mission is to provoke thought, bring awareness, and point people towards intervention when needed. As a reminder, this show is not therapy, but for educational purposes only. For more information, check out JanicePons.com or follow her on social media.
Education, affirmation, dedication, information, revelation. A new nation. We are God empowered. Strength is ours. Liberty, been set free. Education, affirmation, dedication.